Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Scott Jameson, and I'll be your professor for Biology 2010 Anatomy and Physiology Lab. I have two sections of AP1 Lab. Section L25 will meet on Mondays from 3 to 6. That'll be the L25 class. And section L26 will meet on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. That's the L26 class. Yes, that's late in the evening, and we'll be kind of tired at 9:30, but that's the way it goes. So we all signed up for this, so let's have fun. Since this is a lab class, we will be doing lab activities in class. I'll start with a lecture segment. Well, actually, we'll start with a quiz, then we'll go to a lecture segment, and then we'll do some dissections and other activities during class. Note that this class is part of the overall A&P1 class. The other part is lecture. The lecture counts for 70% of your grade. The lab counts for 30%. However, you'll find you're going to work pretty hard studying in lab. I've had students say they studied harder for lab than for lecture. It's not because I don't know it's because it's hard. It's just there's a lot of material we cover. So anyway, but it's going to be fun and we're going to learn a lot. But bear in mind, this isn't just a show up for a couple hours, do a worksheet, and leave type of class. You're going to actually have to do some studying on your own. So plan to spend, 3 hours for every hour you spend. So, I'd say you're going to spend 10 to 12 hours a week just for the lab studying at home. We're going to spend the whole 3 hours in lab too. I tend to use the entire time. So how the class will work, I'm going to provide handouts in class to help you study. And each week I'm going to post those materials in the news section of D2L Momentum on the day of class. Note that the way I set up Momentum, everything starts with the news section. So go take a look at the Welcome to Spring 2022 Anatomy and Physiology 1 Lab section in the news in Momentum. All the explanations and links will be in the news section in Momentum for each lab, and I have them all set up as different modules, and there'll be a different icon for every single Lab 1, Lab 2, Lab 3, that kind of thing. So anyway, just go to the news first. Don't go directly to content. Then also quizzes. Quizzes are going to be at the beginning of every class. There's a quiz every single week. Each quiz will be 30 minutes and have 30 questions or so. One quiz may have 45 questions because we're cramming some stuff from used to be two labs into one. But that's not until in the nervous system, so it's near the end. Lab class has 13 sections going from anatomical language to the microscope, the cell, to the skeletal system, to the nervous system, and the integumentary system, which is the skin. Things that you're going to need for class, you're going to need to purchase the lab manual from the bookstore. It is required for the class and we'll use it. The book for this class is the second edition of Human Anatomy and Physiology by Catherine C. Whiting, and this is what it looks like. So, has this guy doing some rock climbing. And you're going to have access also to an e-version of the book online at Pearson's website. Pearson's the publisher of the book. But I find the online version difficult to use. It's hard to flip back and forth between pages. Like you can go from one page to the next, but going from one page here 5 pages down is hard, and going back and forth. And sometimes I like to do that to compare things on different pages. But you can't do that with the online version at all, really. Also, obviously, you can't write in it or draw pictures or label things in the online version. So that said, the e-version or the e-text version of the lab manual is included in your tuition. So when you sign up online for the Pearson website, which you'll do, I'll give you instructions on how to do that. Do not pay anything. There may be a link pop up asking you to pay for something. Don't pay for it because it's already included in your tuition. The e-version is already included in your tuition. You only have to purchase the paper copy of the lab manual from the bookstore. A word of caution, just don't try to save a couple dollars and not purchase the lab manual and just use the online manual. I've had students do that before, and it didn't work that well. The online lab manual just doesn't work that well. You can't write in it. And so anyway, just buy the book, use it up, mark it up. Don't try to keep it pretty for resale. Use it. And also the book, you're going to buy it. It's going to cover both AP1 and AP2. Okay, so you're not having to purchase another book next semester. You'll also need to bring a notebook to class, pens, pencils, things to write with. If you want to bring coloring pencils to class, you can, markers, highlighters, that kind of stuff as well if you want. We do have coloring pencils in class already, but if you want to bring your own, that's fine. Also, you're going to need to sign up for online access to the publisher's materials online. Pearson is the publisher, Pearson. They have practice quizzes. They call them assignments. I posted the instructions on how to sign up on Pearson in Momentum. And so there's a link in the news section, so go look for that. I've also posted the syllabus, the schedule of topics in lab, when the quizzes are, that kind of stuff is all in Momentum in the news section as well. COVID. If you are sick, please do not come to class, okay? The Omicron variant of the SARS-CoV-2 virus is highly contagious. It's more contagious possibly than chickenpox. It's not as contagious as measles. Measles is the most contagious thing we know of, but it is very contagious, and none of us want it. None of us want to be sick, you know? So I'm going to be wearing a mask in class, and I strongly recommend that each of you do as well. Frankly, if you're going into healthcare, you may as well start wearing the masks and getting used to them. If you're sick and miss class, I have lectures online as videos, and you can watch those. And also there's activity videos you can watch. So you can watch those instead of coming to class, rather than coming to class when you're sick. Also, I will work with you on making up quizzes as well. So don't worry about missing a quiz if you're sick. I'll work with you on when you can make that up. Okay, how to do well in anatomy. In order to do well in anatomy, you're going to need to study on your own as well as come to class, which is kind of duh. Of course you do. But actually, it is pretty difficult to do well in anatomy if you don't come to class. Specifically, you should do 3 things. You should pre-study, then come to class, and then study afterwards. Pre-study is very important, which is basically, it doesn't have to be anything major. Just look over the diagrams to familiarize yourself with what they look like. Kind of look over the labels, look over the bold words in the chapter, the topic headings, so that you have an idea of what these words are when you encounter them for the first time in class. All this pre-thinking helps you set up a framework in your head for learning the material, and it will significantly cut down your study time after class, which is really great. Because a lot of times what people do is they come in class cold, get hit with the material, then they go home and try to study it. And this is really a longer process than that. And they also don't try to cram either. Try to learn a little bit every day. It's called chunking. So you learn things in small bites, chunks of material. After you go to class, within 24 hours, 12 hours or better, scan over your notes, make sure your notes are legible, and make any additional notes you need to do to clarify things for yourself. Draw arrows between different things, so helps you make connections. I'm not a major fan of like major rewrites of notes. You might do that. It was never helpful for me. I just liked circling things and saying, oh, this goes with this piece down here that I wrote in the margin of the text, margin of my notebook, and that kind of stuff. My notes are all over the place, so I tend to draw lots of lines back and forth across the page as I'm outlining the lecture in the class. Also, before class, one thing that is also helpful is writing down any questions you have and bring those to class. You can ask other students those questions before or after class, or you can ask me during class or after class if I haven't given the answer during class. And if you have any questions outside of class, I'm available by email, text, phone, and Zoom. So we can get together any of those ways if you have any. And don't worry about sending me a quick question, something that you feel is not that important. It doesn't bother me to get a quick text and just answer back. So most of the time people are like something like, do we have a quiz this week? And yes, we do. We have a quiz every week, that kind of thing. So, but no big deal. Let's see. For studying, I highly encourage you to write things down by hand with pen or pencil and paper, drawing pictures and diagrams, and they don't have to be artist quality, just scribbly things. Label them. That physical act of doing things really helps you remember things. Building a framework in your mind of where the information is going to go is important too. A visual for that is, let's say your brain is like a warehouse, and you wouldn't just open up the door of the warehouse and just start tossing stuff in. You're going to go in the warehouse, look at the shelves, put labels on those shelves, and decide, what you're going to put there. And then you're going to carry stuff in and carefully place it on the shelves. And you have a map overall of what the whole warehouse has and where things are in there. So that's kind of a visual for how to learn things. So that's what pre-learning does. It helps you build that map of where things are in your head so that you can retrieve them again. Because that's the big part, is you put stuff in there, brains are really good at forgetting things. So you have to work on retrieving them, storing them and retrieving them. Anyway, so what you want to do is organize yourself, organize your space, learn in small pieces, chunking, pre-learn, then do physical actions, drawing pictures, diagrams, writing things down, taking notes. Visualize things in order to help you memorize them. Use mnemonics, use songs or rhymes or whatever to help you remember things as well. Then also link things together, link things that you know already, and then add things to that. So you can look at an area of body and pick a bone and then say, oh, these other bones are near that, is one way of thinking of that. Then you want to link bits of information to an overall topic as well, and then know how those overall topics are connected together. You can also test yourself by describing what you've learned to somebody else. Use your family to do this and say, hey, I'm going to describe this to you. And you're going to find out real fast how much you know and how much you don't. It's really good way of learning things. Also be silly with examples that you use with yourself. It makes it easier to remember those things. You can use online resources. There's various of those. And then also get together with your classmates for study groups. So form those. I've had students that did really well in the past, got together before class as a study group and for like an hour before class and went over material. It really helped all of them, I think. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys on either Tuesday, January 18th or Monday, January 24th. And hope you guys have a good weekend or week. It's right now, it's Saturday morning, January 15th. So hope you guys have a great weekend. You probably won't see this until the 18th, I guess. That's when they open the class up. Anyway, I'm just babbling. Look forward to seeing you guys. Bye. See ya.